Welcome to Fire and Life Talk, transforming a world one heart at a time.
Hello and welcome to another fantastic episode of Fire and Life Talk Show. I am Bishop Jackson. I am your host today. And, here at Fire and Life International Ministries, our motto is to encourage, to empower, and to equip you to live a victorious life, no matter what type of life that you're living. So today, again, we have an awesome show. We have a return guest, Naomi Nussbaum, and I'm telling you, this is going to be a great show. We've been so excited and anticipating for her to come on. But before we bring her on, you know how we do. I have to introduce my friend, I know I'm going to get in trouble for this one, my baby mama, my good thing, and my wife, Pastor Gina.
Hello. So glad to be here. It's been a while, and we're just looking for another great show.
Yes. And I know with that intro, I'm going to get it, right? I'm going to catch it.
Oh, no. I am a baby's mama.
No, I am excited. For those of you know that we just returned back from our trip. We're back in the U.S. We were so fortunate to do a live show from Zambia, Africa, and everything went well. We had a great trip, and we're going to have some follow-up show concerning everything that was done and the great time that we had. But today we have an awesome show with Naomi. We consider her a friend, and she's coming representing the soldiers from Israel and so much more of what her company does. It's called OneFamily. And we're going to advertise it, but I want to let you know right off the bat, this is great ground to sow in, to be a part of, to pray for, because it's for a great cause overall in all that they do. And so without further ado, we want to bring Naomi on, and let's just jump right into it. Naomi, how are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me again.
Yes.
We're so happy to have you here.
Yes, it's always a pleasure. How have you been?
Oh, I'm doing okay. Thank you. Much better than last time you saw me.
Yeah, last time you was on the show, you really had to push through with the pain and everything, and we really appreciate it.
We sure do.
We're just thankful that you're back up and running.
I'm also thankful that I'm back up and running.
So I tell you what, Naomi, we've had some requests like who is Naomi? What is this OneFamily? And so now that you're here, tell us all about OneFamily and what you do.
Okay. OneFamily is a nonprofit that provides emotional, financial, and legal support to Israel's terror victims. We've been doing it for over 24 years, and we help everybody in Israel, regardless of age, race, religion, or gender. Anybody who's a victim of terror, we would love to help them.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a really wide scope of services that we offer. The first thing that we do is help the people get the benefits that they are entitled to from the government. But, paperwork can be very overwhelming at times, and following procedures, getting a hold of people. So we help them do that. And then we have many, many tiers of services that we offer to really come around people who are grieving and dealing with overwhelmingly challenging situations.
That
Yeah,
is
I know
awesome.
that is
That
that
is
is great to have someone in your
great.
corner, because a lot of times, here in the U.S., it's the next sensitive. I mean, not sensitive, but the next big story goes on, and sometimes we forget about the wars and rumors of wars that's going on around the world, and
Yeah,
how it affects the families and
Right.
right.
soldiers and everything. So again, we're thankful for you to come on. We're thankful for what One Family does and their commitment
Thank you so
to,
much.
to helping these soldiers. So tell us about some of the conditions that the soldiers are going through right now.
Yes.
Gosh. Well, war is just the ugliest thing on the planet, right?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
So, um, Israel is a really tiny country with a small population. It's smaller than the state of New Jersey, right? Just to give Americans the idea. So the kids, when they grow up, instead of going off to college when they're 18, almost all of them go into the army.
okay,
And so when we're talking about soldiers, we're talking about kids who are 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, right? And then the reservists who were called to duty because of the war are, you know, probably married, they have wives and children and a career, and then they have to leave their life and go to combat. And when I say that there's a wounded soldier, um, they don't count, scratches or stitches, right? When they say there's a wounded soldier, that unfortunate soul might not have some limbs, or might be burned on the majority of his body, or might have a severe traumatic brain injury. I mean,
yeah,
um, so really, really life-changing injuries, not something that's easily healed. It's not like I broke my arm and it's going to take 6 weeks to heal. These, that's not an injured soldier, right? When they get injured, it's big. So those are the kinds of people who we really want to help, and we need to help their families and support their kids, because even when their injuries heal, and God willing, they will heal, they probably won't be able to go back to life as they knew it beforehand.
mm-hmm.
You know what I
Right.
mean? Probably won't be the same life.
Right. So can you just tell us about a little about Operation Warm Embrace? What
Yeah.
what that's all about?
Warm embrace is exactly how it sounds, right? It's an operation because we're taking care of our soldiers and their families, and warm embrace because you don't think about being warm and fuzzy with soldiers necessarily, but these people absolutely need an embrace at this time. So we want to go to the hospitals. A severely wounded soldier will likely be in the hospital for months and months and months, and they might have a
Yeah,
series of operations, right? And they can't leave, or they're not as mobile. So One Family goes there regularly to visit. We bring shakes, we bring cheer to the families, but for this particular campaign, we want to donate and give iPads and stands to severely wounded soldiers. And that can be life changing because it's a portal
yes,
to any kind of connection or information that they want. So if you give a soldier who's bedridden an iPad with a stand, right? The stand has to hold in case the person can't hold it with his hands. Um, he can listen to music. He can FaceTime with his wife or his children. He
mm-hmm.
he can learn anything under the sun. He could watch you guys being live streamed.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I mean, he can be in contact with the group of soldiers that he was with before. His best friends are probably incredibly concerned about him, but being alone in a bed in a hospital
Yes.
is the loneliest thing in the world. And if your
Oh,
body
yes.
is wrecked, oh my gosh, how um, it's like injury on top of injury to
yeah,
be
yeah,
alone in the room, separated from everybody and your surroundings, right? So an iPad is a way to connect, and people can send text messages of love and support and calls and give him some energy that he's going to need to heal himself and get through this, right?
Right.
Plenty of people need job retraining, also we can use it for that. If you can't go back to the same position that you were in before, when your body was a different way, you might be able to do something different, but it might take some retraining. So it's like opening up a new world as best as we can. And we usually give little gifts to their kids just to cheer them up for the afternoon, to something to make them smile. Maybe the parents enjoy seeing the kids happy, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes there's nothing to be happy about, and you give a kid a toy, even if it only lasts for the afternoon or a couple of weeks or a month or two before they're in the next stage, they still have the laughs and the giggles and the smiles for a day. And that's worth a lot too.
Will they be able to FaceTime also to their family and friends? And
exactly.
that means, I know when we were in Zambia, we were able to FaceTime, and that makes a difference.
Yeah.
Especially because I wanted to FaceTime my grandson. So that just makes your day when you're
It really does.
when you can't be
as
there.
as we were mentioning, we were referencing, I was hit by a car 6 months ago. So the last time you guys saw me, I was laying on my couch and miserable. I had surgery a couple weeks ago, but being able to FaceTime with my family on the other side of the country literally makes all the difference. You know, if I can be with them, at least I can FaceTime them and I feel like I'm with them. And it really cheers you up. Really cheers you up. It distracts you from the pain, you know? So I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, it's awesome because the power of presence is so important. And you know, to be wounded, it really affects you emotionally. And then to be disconnected from your fellow troops, be disconnected from your family, it means so much. So we just thank you for the work that you're doing. And I think that's Team Korea. Yeah, the holistic approach here, and it's so inspiring. And you're doing amazing work. And we so much agree. That's why we wanted you to come on to the show.
Thank you. You guys are the best.
Thank you. So what is the feedback like with this program? Because we want to get into some other things that you do, but this is one of the biggest, and I can't say the biggest, but one of the greatest things that you guys do. But we want to get into some other things too. But since you started this program, what is the feedback like?
The feedback is terrific, you know, because wounded people really want a hug. And the last people to ask for a hug are soldiers, because you know how tough they are, right?
Yeah.
But true to OneFamily's mission, we want everybody to feel like family. We want everyone to feel loved. And it is not like a soldier to say, I need a hug or I need a little bit of help. They're going to sit there and suffer silently. So when we show up with gifts like this that can really change their world, they are overcome with gratitude and they feel the love. And that's all we want. We want them to feel loved. We want them to feel encouraged. We want to lift, give them a boost that energy to help them get through the next bit of healing or the next operation or whatever the next step is. It's going to be a very long journey, right? So it's not like an iPad is going to fix anything, but it's as much help as we can offer right now that will really change their experience of healing.
I know real estate with Kate. She wants to know, how can others get involved with Operation Warm Embrace? We have the website on here.
Thank you. Yes. So in any memo, just write Operation Warm Embrace or send an iPad to a soldier and make a donation. And we will make sure that it gets there with so much love and gratitude. Thank you.
Yeah. And this is not just a one-time promotion or anything like that. This is a year-round. Since we met Naomi several months ago. I forgot the topic we talked about last time, but again, OneFamily does so much, and I've seen the videos, I've been to the websites and all that. And again, it's great ground to sow in and to help these families, not only the soldiers, but the families. And again, Naomi, as you mentioned, war can be such a terrible thing. It affects the whole community, the very fiber of a nation.
Yes.
So there's so much help that's needed. You know, we hear in the news about, well, these troops are moving here, or this got bombed today or whatever. But you think about the people that had a bakery, you know, because of the war, they don't have their bakery anymore, and then people can't get bread. So it's just one thing after another. We were talking with someone that had just visited Israel, and they were saying like they were riding the train and soldiers was on the train going to the front line. I
Yes.
mean, you know, it's real.
It's
real.
I experienced that when I was in Israel. I don't know if I spoke about that last time, but absolutely, when I was on the train traveling between Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, or all the way south to visit bereaved families, there are soldiers with their massive weapons traveling all over the country. You see them everywhere you go. And as an American, I'm not used to seeing that.
Yeah.
And when I was in the South making home visits, I heard explosions and I heard red sirens. And wow, for an American, it's jarring. For them, it's a way of life, right? The person driving me around didn't care that there was a boom, and then there's fighter jets overhead. I'm like, oh my God, you know. And the person we were going to visit said, hey, you know, we just want to let you know that we have to go run to our bomb shelters.
Yeah, see,
that
right there. Right.
I was like, hang on, I have kids. And she's like, this is our way of life. Do we hear this all day? Like, she wasn't going to stop driving. She's like, red siren.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow.
And so we talk about these things to try to put people in that scenario, in that way of life. And, you know, we support Israel. We support Israel 100%. And, you know, you take away Israel, you take away the nationality or whatever, it's people.
Yeah.
It's people. It's people that need a hand, to need to reach out.
Absolutely.
You know, being a former veteran, I've never seen wartime, but I've trained. I've put many hours in to train for war. Well, fortunately, I never seen the war, but we're still connected to the military. So we see our wounded soldiers that come back, and they need physical help, emotional help, and just a simple say, hey, I'm here for you, means a lot. So we continue to promote OneFamily. The website is on the page. Go to the website, donate, get involved. We would appreciate it. We would appreciate it.
That's right.
So yeah, go ahead, Naomi.
We help soldiers and civilians. And we help families of soldiers and civilians, because as you said, we are all humans, and we help people of all races and religion and ages and genders and background. We help everybody who's a victim of terror, because we are all humans.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's a very important point to make. And another important point that you brought up is PTSD and how challenging it is. That's not an easy fix. And of course, we see soldiers and civilians with PTSD from war and all kinds of terror attacks. And that's probably the hardest part of our job, because it's so deep. There's so much fear mixed with the grief, and it takes so long to heal from that. And it can, it's poison, it's toxic, it's like insidious, and it can ruin all the other things in your life if PTSD is severe and gets out of hand, right? So the most important part of our work is trying to help people overcome their PTSD so that they can live happy, fulfilling lives. You know, the new normal, post whatever trauma they went through, whatever the new normal is going to look like, we want it to be happy and healthy.
Yes.
That's awesome support.
Yeah, that's so important. I know we got a couple of comments. What are some specific, let me get it up there, specific stories that you can share with Operation Warm Embrace? And there was a couple of people asking that very question.
Oh, goodness. Okay, well, the first thing that pops into my mind is that I've been talking a lot about soldiers. It's not just soldiers. I don't know. There was a horrific story that a missile landed in the middle of a soccer field in the north. Do you remember that? And a whole bunch of Druze children were murdered and severely wounded, right? And there was a little girl who was in a coma, in very bad shape for a long time, and we brought her an iPad too. So the first thing, when someone says specific story, like, that's my favorite, seeing that little girl coming out of it. She's sitting up in bed with her mother, you know, like recovering, and we came. So we're there for soldiers, but we're there for children. We're there for people of all different religions, and that's great. Who else with the iPads? I went to visit the soldiers. It really hurts, you know, when you see them in such bad shape, but it doesn't heal them. We can't heal them. We can't put their body back together whole.
Right.
But making them knowing that they can smile, that they can reconnect with their family again is a really big deal. And it warms my heart. It's as much as we can do. You know, we all pray that it didn't happen in the first place so that we could stop the war and that nobody else would get hurt. But I saw a whole support group for wounded soldiers when I was in the hospital last time, you know, and they're all in wheelchairs and they were all heroes the day before, you know?
Yeah.
Wow. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it can be emotional. Again, we just thank you for sharing, because what I want to get at is you're on the grassroots of it, and you're seeing it and you're sharing it. And again, sometimes we just get so desensitized because of the next big story here in America. And I got to be careful with my words with that. Because we should be more involved. But I think I'm thankful for the technology that you're providing. And this is just something I just thought of. Is there any way to send messages to the soldiers?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Send me an email or post it on our Instagram.
Okay.
So yes, if people want to email me any loving, warm kinds of, I have a whole stack of cards right here on my desk. I want to show you a school, a bunch of girls. Look, it's backwards. Like it says, "You're not alone," and Happy Hanukkah, and I hope you have a good day. There are pictures with hearts and rainbows and all kinds of.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, that's
pictures
awesome.
that anybody. Yes. So what we do when we get gorgeous letters like these, to send them immediately, we scan them and send them to the Israel office. And then all the volunteers that go to the hospitals or who are making home visits that day can bring these with them to show the donors that America is behind them, supporting not the donors, the victims, right? The people who need the support the most. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's what great golf tips. I got to get my glasses adjusted. Golf tips was saying, what was the next step? That's the next step. Hey, let's talk to the soldiers. And your email, I'm so sorry I don't have the email inputted, but you can get it from the website, correct?
Absolutely. They can also email US office at onefamilyfundus.org. So our website is onefamilyfundus.org, and you can reach us here in the office at usoffice@onefamilyfundus.org. But I want to go back to Mr. Golf Tips. I'm assuming it's a band. It might be Mrs. Golf Tips. I don't know. I'm sorry. I didn't mean. One Family is trying to have a golf event in California. And we cannot get a single golf club to allow us to have it. And we have an up and coming legend who wants to play for us. We have a lot of the other pieces ready to go, and it's really hard to get into a golf club or to get them to agree to have our event for us. So if Mr. Golf Tips or anybody else out there listening has a golf club in California, please give me a call.
Is that any part of California, Naomi?
It could be anywhere in the U.S., but we were thinking California, potentially Arizona or New Jersey, but really anywhere. We already have the people lined up.
All right. Awesome. Okay. So we may be able to give a little input on that.
Okay. Thank you. That would be fabulous.
And this is what the platform is all about.
That's right.
Yeah, I just thank everyone that has been commenting and asking questions. For whatever platform we're on, we continue to encourage it. But we're going to take a quick commercial break. We just thank everyone for tuning in, and we're going to take a quick commercial break. But I just encourage you to subscribe, to like, to share, and I'm missing one. To come back. How about that?
That's a good one.
Welcome back to Fire and Life Talk. We are so thankful for you tuning in today from whatever platform, wherever you're at in the world. You're welcome and thank you. And I think I got it together. When we went on break, I was missing one. So don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and I don't forget again. Oh my goodness, that's live TV for you. Anyway, we thank you for tuning in and continue to comment. And if you have any questions for Naomi Nussbaum of OneFamily, please don't hesitate to ask. You know, Naomi, with OneFamily, and we were talking about Operation Warm Embrace.
Yes.
You know, you guys are a lifeline to the trauma, to all the trauma that the soldiers go through. But you're more than that. I mean, I know you have the warm embrace going on, but OneFamily is use a holistic approach.
Yeah.
You know, story,
Absolutely.
resilience, and joy.
Yes.
What OneFamily offers a range of services to victims of terror. Can you explain how these services work together to build resilience?
Oh, okay. So it's like the synergy, right? So if we offer emotional support, but financially somebody's crippled because they can't go to work anymore, it feels good to have that emotional support and that hug, right? But then what are they going to do about their finances?
Right.
But if we're offering financial support to take that burden off temporarily, and then giving them social support and providing outings and new friendships, and along with psychological tools, it becomes a much more comprehensive way to help, and the synergy of all of those different types working together, and there really are a lot of different types. So that is really where the magic happens. That's how they feel truly supported and held in all ways, which helps them relax a little bit.
Yes.
Learn some new psychological tools. They're going to have to change their mindset, change the language that they use, the way they think about things, and that's very hard, but easier to do together with people. So that's why we're family, because we do it together. We do that together.
Family.
So to give you some examples, we've been talking about warm embrace. We want to give them iPads and gifts for their children when they're in the hospital, right? But what about a fun night out, right?
Yeah.
So OneFamily arranged for a comedian in a place, and we hired ambulances to bring soldiers from 4 different hospitals and long-term rehab facilities, to bring soldiers together from all over so that they could have a night of comedy.
Yeah.
And we took wounded soldiers off-roading. Is it an ATV? I don't know what those things are called. It's like a monster bike, and okay, so that's like fun and rugged, and you're sitting on it, but you're going really fast and into uncharted territory in the forest or the desert, and it's fun. We took wounded soldiers and bereaved young adults to Cyprus for 4 days, and there was a concert, and there was a water park, and there was a yacht, and you give them good food, therapy, friends that are in the same boat, and it can be changing. They go home a little bit different, a little bit happier, some new tools, and new friends who are in the same spot that they're in.
Yeah, I think that's a great approach, because you're addressing the issues and their challenges from different aspects of life, period.
Yeah.
And it's nothing like being able to get back to what some of us call normal. And I was sitting here thinking, wow, you do all that would give me hope.
Yeah.
So you're restoring hope.
Absolutely. Right.
Yeah, not only in the soldiers, but the families and the whole community.
Yes.
So we also provide support services for the wives of severely injured soldiers.
Good.
Right? Those wives are probably sick with worry over what's happening to their husband in the hospital. But then they're also like the sole provider, the only one taking care of the kids and the house and the errands. So that's, again, how many different layers of suffering can one person go through alone, right? So we'll have a day of pampering, right? We'll send babysitters for their children. We'll give them gifts, clothing, support, manicures, massages, swimming, whatever, to give them a day of relax, to let them know somebody else is going to watch their children. We're going to feed you. We're going to take care of your body. We're going to have some really enjoyable activities and opportunities to share your feelings and your experiences with
Yes.
20 other women who are in the exact same position that you're in. Then they become friends, they feel normal, and they're also rejuvenated and recharged to go back to their life after that.
That's great.
Yes.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you have to do that periodically. It can't be one and done, right? You got to keep
Yeah.
Right.
you got to
That's
keep taking care.
That's the commitment. That's the commitment that I like about One Family.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's for life. If they need us for life, we are here for life. We're not leaving them.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We're not leaving anyone. Nobody's left behind.
Do you have some other goals or to expand One Family in some other
Yes.
areas?
Yes. So we do have a goal to expand. I mean, it's not such a great thing. Since October 7th, we have about 4,000 new families that need help just since October 7th of last year.
Okay.
So we have to triple or quadruple our staff
Okay.
and more buildings and more programs, more retreats, and fundraising too. So we would be very, very grateful for any amount of support that the listeners would generously like to give. It's very hard to find healthcare professionals, like great ones, to deal with the hardest of situations, right?
Wow.
Because there's either a severe physical injury or a death, and we can't make those things right. We have to give the people hope to deal with the fallout, right? One is the grief and the trauma of the actual event, but then we have to deal with their finances and the injured relationships and family dynamics, work dynamics, community dynamics. We have to help all of it. Takes a lot. Takes a village, right?
Yes. I love the way that you have one plan for this plan and one plan for that plan.
Yeah.
And it just works for the family to have that kind of support. And I just love your vision
Thank you.
for One Family. That's just
so
awesome.
kind of you. Yeah. So to go back to the vision, a little bit of what you said, we have coordinators that are like professional friends, and they reach out to a terror victim or the person's family, soldier or civilian, doesn't matter who. And that coordinator will actually assess every single member of the family and make an individual plan for each one of them to set them up for success, in addition to a plan for the entire family as a unit.
Okay.
Right? So if there's a severely wounded soldier, just because we've been using that example today, right? The physical injuries to the soldier are primary, but then the trauma to everybody else around that person who is suffering also needs to be helped. There might be a dynamic between the husband and wife that needs to be repaired. And then if the mother is constantly at the father's bedside and then the kids feel neglected, like not only are they so upset about what happened to their father, they're also not getting the same love and attention from their mother. Then the kids need extra layers, right? They might need a big brother or a big sister. They're definitely going to come to the therapeutic camps that we have 3 times a year. They might need monthly check-ins. They might need weekly check-ins. They might need a tutor in school to help them get through their homework. Or they might need to see a psychologist or a psychiatrist on their own. Sometimes teenagers have a lot of anger. And then if something like this, this horrible event happens when they're a teenager, there's a lot of emotions that were there to begin with that could be addressed. So even more so. So the coordinator will really make a plan for every single individual in the family. And nowadays, it's tragic. There are so young soldiers dying that we have invented these groups of mourners for grandparents. You have young grandparents who just lost 20-year-old son, right, in the army. There are large groups of grandparents who are overcome with grief, and because they're not typically thought of as part of the mourning group, right? It's not the natural order of things that parents and grandparents have to mourn their children, but it's such a large part of the Israeli population right now. We have support groups just for them. We have support groups for like sisters-in-law. When something happens to an immediate family, it's like the in-laws, the women who are married into the family who aren't directly blood related. They're the ones that might be cooking and cleaning for these
Yeah.
other families. And there's so many of them that are taking care of their own families and somebody else's family. They need support groups.
Right.
So,
Well,
yeah.
Well, I was going to say, Naomi, we've talked about the different components of the operation and the people that are involved. Let's see, Fine Gulf Real Estate. They're doing a lot of advertising today, but that's all good.
I would answer this person that volunteers visit wounded soldiers in the hospital regularly.
Yeah.
Volunteers, we have a holiday called Purim, usually in March, and we give out baskets of food. And this is like our hugest project. We deliver to every terror victim family in all of Israel. So volunteers for like a month before buy the ingredients, make the packages, wrap them, decorate them beautifully, and then drive them all over the country and deliver them to the family. What else do volunteers do? Volunteers bake special bread like challah and bring it to soldiers in the hospital before Shabbat. Yeah. Volunteers are amazing. They do everything.
Yes, they are.
And we're talking about Israel, but one thing I like to say is that a lot of the soldiers, what I've learned, are from the U.S.
Yeah. Oh, some of them certainly, yeah.
A lot of the families are here, but they lay down their life here in the U.S. and go to and go fight for their country.
Yes.
And like you said, there's different races and nationalities. There's different religions that's in the trenches and fighting for that nation. So if you got family members that's watching here in the U.S., encourage your fellow brothers and sisters, your family members that's there on the ground to volunteer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're very grateful for volunteers. A lot of the Israel is a very young country, right? Everybody is an immigrant in Israel, almost everybody. Or they're born from immigrants, right? The parents or grandparents came to Israel, and tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people move to Israel every year. And there are tourists. So that's a big part. And yes, American Jews definitely leave America and go to Israel to serve in the army. Tragically, we lost one of our hostages, Omer Nutra, recently. You might have heard about that in the news. Yes. Devastating. I've had the opportunity to spend some time with some of his family. It's just heartbreaking, right? And I think America has 5 hostages still in Gaza, right, that we need back. We need all 101 of them back. I'm wearing my pin to show that humans are humans and nobody deserves to be treated that way ever. It's not acceptable. OneFamily is taking care of the Nutra family. We're heartbroken along with them. We were so hoping that he'd be sent home, and we found out that he was gone a long time ago. It's tragic.
He was killed on October 7th. Also, too, because I got a message from Clem. We got Clem in the green room. He said he didn't want to come in, but he was sending a message to remind us about how OneFamily was helping that family. So I'm so glad that you brought that up. But also, too, can you talk about the big Hanukkah event to help the 400 kids that have lost their loved ones?
Right.
Okay, so both. Yes, we were helping the Nutra family. I spent Shabbat with some of his relatives. I saw some more down at the rally last month. And in Israel, we OneFamily went to the Shiva home. I believe they're from Long Island, but they buried him there, and there's family in Israel, and OneFamily has been involved. And the same with all the families. We help as many of them as we can. We reach out to as many of them as we can and offer our services. We actually held a retreat for hostage families who were informed that their loved one was no longer alive, but the body was being held in Gaza. So in the Jewish religion, that's a very difficult spot to be caught in, because your loved one is gone, but there's no funeral and you can't sit Shiva until you bury the body. So sitting Shiva is our week-long ritual of, coming together and mourning and celebrating life, their life that was tragically taken too young. But that's what we do. And those families didn't have the opportunity to have any closure or to say that final goodbye. So we took them on a therapeutic retreat. But the fact is that we took them all together. So it was 50 people who are all in the same situation.
Yes.
That's the kind of thing that we do, and all. It's just heartbreaking on every single level.
Yeah.
And we have to loudly say to the world, the hostages need to come home. We want the hostages back. We need them home. This is unacceptable. Okay. The next question you asked me, what was the next? It's Hanukkah party, right?
Yes, with the 400 kids. No,
So,
Naomi, this is what this platform is all about.
Okay.
It's dedicated to the ups and downs, the challenges, the victories of everyone's life. And we want to bring to light what's going on the other side of the world. Again, here in America, we have so many different news outlets, and sometimes we tune in, sometimes we don't. We get desensitized when we hear about a bomb dropped here and a bomb there. Well, that's what they do over there. But no, we need to get back in touch of family.
Right.
Family has been such a challenge of erosion in our family here in America. So this is what this platform is all about. I mean, you can share, be yourself, speak your heart.
Speak my heart. God, I want those hostages home. And I hope somebody's listening who can make somebody listen, right? They do not only do they not deserve the treatment that they're getting, it should be intolerable to the entire world. That this has been going on for more than a year. It shouldn't have gone on for a minute. And if every organization came together and said, send them home now, it would happen. So my plea today would be to send all of the hostages home. And of course, we have to stop terror, right? We're all human beings.
Right.
Yes, definitely. Yes, definitely.
War has to end. Genocide has to end. Terror has to end. And I will add one more thing. I live here in New Jersey, right outside of Manhattan, where there have been drones coming in every single night for weeks. And the police don't know what the drones are. And the FBI has said publicly they don't know what the drones are. So when you talk about tuning out to bombs and wars on the other side of the world, I think sometimes our eyes are so closed, it's frightening.
Yes. Yeah.
Where do people think car-sized drones are coming from? And for what purpose? Droves drones, enormous ones, coming in from the ocean every night, driving around, flying around, whatever drones do, taking information, can very quickly turn deadly. And it is completely unacceptable for our law enforcement services to say, oh, we don't know what they are, but it doesn't look like they're doing any harm. Well, how many people are they waiting for to die before they say, oh, the drones caused harm, maybe we should take them out of the sky? Right? This is the kind of warfare that's going on in the Middle East. Here it's going on Manhattan and New Jersey, and people are just going about their day as if there isn't a crisis right now. There is a security crisis right now that needs some attention brought to it to keep us all safe here. Of course, we need to keep the Middle East safe as well, but it's spreading. So
it's definitely worldwide. It's definitely worldwide. Yeah, I heard a very small snippet about the drones. I didn't know that they just kind of discounted it. But this technology, oh man, it depends on the heart of the person that the technology falls into. And what we have to realize that everyone, unfortunately, is not about good. It's not about the lives of their neighbor. And and we have to counteract that. I had a friend of mine that despises war. And and I say, you know what, I do too, but in some sense, it's necessary. If not, we will be overtaken. If we
Yeah,
can't
is that
defend
hard?
ourselves, yeah, we will be overtaken by evil,
Yeah.
and it's unfortunate. I don't know how others feel about that. I've thought about it and thought about it again, being part of the military, but that's why we love what you do, because
Yes.
these things are gonna happen. You
Yeah.
know,
Right.
they're promised, but we just thank you that you have a heart, and your organization has a heart. And again, let me get the website back up again. Get involved. This is
Yes.
a great organization,
Great.
and
So
I
much.
know that we're a part of it. You don't have to be out front. You can be behind the scenes. Every dollar counts.
Every
Every
dollar.
volunteer counts.
Yes.
Every message to the soldier counts, and to their
Yes.
families, to the children. And Gene, I'm gonna kind of put you on the spot. Gina's a retired teacher, but the school that she taught at there was over 100 at one time, over 109 nations represented. And
Beautiful.
and it was the little children that came in and couldn't speak English.
Mhm.
And some of them had the tattoos. Well, go ahead, Gina. You can elaborate.
Oh, yeah. I had children in my class. They were from all over the world. But some of them resonated with me so well because they had been part of wars, they had been part of things, and they would tell me the stories and how they felt so good that they were here and that they were safe. They talked about when the bombs would happen and they would have to leave everything that they had and go to
Mhm.
another area. And that didn't just happen one time a
Right.
month, that was often.
Yeah.
And it just brought to my mind a light because, how precious uh, we don't understand how precious it is in the United States that we do have those safety, that protection, that we don't experience that.
Yeah.
But they do experience that, and we need to be more aware and more giving and more understanding and more helpful.
So well said.
Yes,
Truly.
definitely. We got a question from Michael Linton.
What other initiatives does One Family have in place to help soldiers and their families?
Oh gosh. Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
a lot.
it is. Well,
Yeah,
like I was saying, there's emergency financial assistance. There might be monthly financial assistance depending on the situation. Special services for wives and mothers, but we have support groups for every part of the family, and even the older generation. Right? We have support groups for parents whose son is an injured soldier, right? But that injured soldier might be in his 30s and he might be married and have children, and we're also supporting the wife and the children. Um, God forbid if a soldier is lost, absolutely. The parents, his siblings, his spouse, his children, maybe his grandparents, they're all invited to support groups. From the support groups, we have daily outings. Sometimes we have therapeutic retreats. Um, we have a robust youth department with many different activities and many different levels of support, and children of all ages are invited to participate in all of it. We have therapy for the kids who are too young to come to camp, anyone 7 or younger. We have special therapy for them if they're
Wow.
not old enough
Yes.
to leave parents to come to the camp. We have a young adults division for the kids who age out, but their pain doesn't die just because they had a birthday. So we have a young adults division, and
Yes.
then the mothers and fathers and grandparents. So it's really the same for everybody, whether they're soldier or civilian, severely injured, or God forbid bereaved. We're helping everybody in that family.
that's good.
Yeah. Naomi, can you get some specifics on this Hanukkah event that's coming up?
Okay, so yes, that'll be this month. We have 3 therapeutic camps for children throughout the year. This one will be about 3 days long. Therapy is built in, right? The curriculum. The schedule is made by trauma-informed therapists, and we infuse therapeutic tools of, teaching resilience, of how to get in touch with their emotions, that grieving is safe and laughing is also safe and normal, right? Some people think they can never crack a smile again because they've lost somebody, which is the worst thing in the world. But we make them feel very safe with a wide range of emotions, just like everybody else in that room has a wide range of emotions. Whatever they're feeling is normal, acceptable, and wonderful. And tools for how to feel the dark emotions and move into the light emotions. And we give them as much light and joy as possible. So we're spoiling them with really fun activities that they might not have access to in their own lives or their own financial situation. We have to spoil them with fun, with gifts, with concerts. We light the menorah every year. So we have a big candle lighting ceremony with presents and jelly donuts, which is our customary holiday food. Fried foods. Have you ever heard of a holiday where you have to celebrate by eating fried foods? That's Hanukkah for us.
That's our Naomi. That's our culture all day. It don't even have to be a holiday. That's our culture every day.
So we eat fried foods and we light that menorah, and we give presents and we have fun with them as much as we can for a few days. And because it's 3 times a year, we do around Passover and Easter time, and we do again during the summer. Most Israeli kids don't go to camp in the summer. So we have it 3 times a year. So they know that every few months they're coming together with the same group of kids. All the kids feel normal together. They don't feel like that one with the story. They don't feel like the odd one out. They don't feel like everyone's pointing to them. They're normal. Their feelings are normal. They make new friends, and they have these people in their lives throughout the year, and they grow up together,
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, is there a maximum age for the camp? Because
I also want to go, right?
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun. As I mentioned earlier, some of the troops are from America. Do you have any activities here for when they return here in the States or any other countries?
Not like that. We take soldiers on trips, or terror victims on trips, and family members on therapeutic retreats around the world, right? We had a group of young adults. In the English language, we think of an orphan as a person who's under the age of 18 who lost both parents, right?
Okay. Yeah.
18-year-olds who had both of their parents murdered on October 7th are struggling just as much as the 17-year-olds and the 16-year-olds, right? So that's the 18-year-old cutoff is kind of a government construct that we don't buy into. So we took a group of young adults who are orphans to Andorra to learn how to ski for the first time, right? Wow. And we brought 10 or 15 people together in a small group so that they could bond. And they're doing a physical challenge that's they're pushing their limits, which is great for resilience, because if you can do it with a physical challenge, which seems fun, you'll be able to transfer that newfound strength into the other parts of your life, which are really dark and difficult. So that was a fabulous therapeutic retreat. We took other people to Kenya on a retreat. We've taken people to Europe on retreats, right? And we'll take widows, whether they're war widows or any other kind of widow, a civilian widow, I guess you would call it. We take them on retreats. We take bereaved parents on retreats. We take them all on therapeutic retreats all around the world. But our mission is really to help the people in Israel. Now, we were talking about Omer Nutra and the 5 other hostages, right? Because there are a lot of people with dual citizenship, right? So there are people who are American and Israeli at the same time. There are people who are Israeli and French at the same time, or any other country, right? So we don't have programming necessarily outside of Israel. We'll take Israelis and make their lives better around the world wherever we can.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We took young orphans with their new adoptive parents, right? The young kids who lost both parents on October 7th, we took them with their newly adopted parents to Mexico for 2 weeks, so that because they're all grieving. Whoever they're adopting parent is,
Right.
probably an uncle or a grandparent. They're also grieving because they either just lost a
Yes.
child or a brother or sister. Now they're taking on their children. So the children are grieving because they lost their parents. Whoever the new parents are, they're also grieving. We bring the families together so that they can grieve and bond. They have to form new attachments
Right.
or different attachments to the ones they had before. So we took a group there for 2 weeks, and we keep planning things like that more and more.
Yeah.
Every day we have something going on.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we, time has gotten away from us once again. And, you're more than welcome to come back whenever you want to.
Thank you.
This is such a great work that you're doing.
Thank you
That
so much.
around the world, you're touching the world, even though it's consecrated there in Israel. And again, we just want to encourage all of our viewers, whether it's your first time or you return every week, because we had some people that comment. We found that they're coming in every week. We don't know where they're from, but we just thank them for joining us.
Yes, we
today.
do.
We thank you for joining us every week. And again, go to OneFamilyFundsUS.org. Not only go and see what they're doing, but also email Naomi.
Yes.
And let her know you want to support the troops and send them a message, send them gifts, send money, be a volunteer, do whatever you can to help out this cause. As you've seen, they do a wide variety of giving hope and encouraging resilience. And Naomi, we thank you once again for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. You guys are wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're such a blessing. If you can, just stay on a couple minutes, and Clem as well. And we're going to close out. So thank you again for watching the Fire and Life Talk Show. I hope you enjoyed the show today and that you will get involved. Again, tune in next week. We appreciate you. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and come back next week. I got to find out which one that is. God bless.
Thank you for tuning in to Fire and Life Talk, where Jesus is Lord. If you would like more information, visit our website at fireandlife.org.